Our tale begins in a shadowy, dimly lit cave teeming with the monsters we detest. At present, they are rejoicing over the demise of their leader. The death of the chief brings an opportunity to seize his weapon and other belongings. The large goblin sprawled on the ground must be the chief, and the smaller ones rummaging through his body are the brainless fools. They can't even decide who will claim the wooden club. Two little goblins settled their dispute over who gets to be the next chief in the only way they knew, by fighting it out. Whoever survives is deemed right. If you ever see goblins fighting, it's best to close your eyes because their brutality is unmatched. They scratch, bite, and employ every dirty trick while cursing at each other. Naturally, the rest of the goblin lair gravitates towards the violence, forming a circle and cheering for the combatants to finish each other off. Among the audience, one goblin remembered that the chief had left some untouched prey deeper in the cave. Now that no one technically owns the prey, they can go and claim it for themselves. However, there's a problem with that plan. A fierce guardian is protecting the prey. This guardian, another goblin, is different from the others. As he walks towards the prey, the rest of the lair watches him with disdain and hatred. Known as the guardian of the prey, he is a reviled figure, covering himself like a human. Some goblins think he's keeping the prey for himself, so they plan to follow him until they find the prey. The more cautious goblin, however, prefer to wait a bit longer, knowing some goblins have already gone to search the cave right after the chief's death. These are tough goblins, and once the fighting starts, the smarter and more cautious ones can swoop in. The outcast goblin hears everything they whisper behind his back. Then he hears a woman's desperate screams for help from deep within the cave, prompting him to run as fast as he can. As he reaches the entrance of the chief's room, the pleas grow louder. The outcast rushes into the dark room, finding the prey fighting for her life and dignity as goblins hold her down. She doesn't want to bear goblin children. The goblins and the prey notice the outcast's arrival simultaneously. She cries and begs for help more desperately. The outcast pleads with the goblins to release her, but they ignore him. In the room, skeletal remains of various creatures are scattered everywhere. The largest goblin in the room confronts the outcast, claiming the prey as his own after the chief's death. If the outcast disagrees and tries to take the prey, he could die at the hands of the goon goblins. 3 goblins charge at him from the front. They are clumsy, but they have the advantage of numbers. Dodging is his only option. The outcast can't believe these low-level goblins are giving him such a hard time. They ineptly scratch and bite him, tearing his cloak. But the outcast grits his teeth and focuses. He can't die here. He needs to survive. His desperation leads to goblin blood spilling on the floor. Once he fells the first goblin, the other 2 are gripped with fear. The outcast uses his roughly made dagger to take one down and scare the other. He raises the janky blade, threatening to kill them if they don't leave. These goblins only act tough when they feel secure in their numbers, but in real danger, they fold. That's happening now. They were cocky claiming the prey, but at the sight of a weapon, they flee. Our boy heaves a sigh of relief, his adrenaline through the roof. The girl thanks him for saving her once again. Unlike the other goblins, our boy never laid a finger on her. He would risk his life to protect her repeatedly. She doesn't want him harmed, as he's different from the other goblins. She says it's always been this way. Our boy, once human, awakened in the same miserable room where prey was kept. Instead of meeting God after being hit by a dump truck, he was transported to another world with a system. Though he has an op system, it's not fully activated. He can see some of his stats, but it doesn't seem to have other useful functions. However, he hasn't been idle. He has been talking with prey, gaining some understanding of this mystical world. Unlike his previous world, this realm is home to powerful races, creatures, and monsters. Humans have carved out their place on this warring continent with fierce strength. The goblin race, which he reincarnated into, is considered the weakest and filthiest. Even among goblins, he ranks low in raw power. Our boy's name is Lin, a level 5 goblin with God's blessing. He has no class yet and horrible stats. He has the racial skill gene Devour. equipped with a rough stone knife. His combat power is 30 points. He learned that goblins can get stronger through constant mating and reproduction, but they can't produce female offspring. So, they plunder and raid for mates. But Lin, once human, finds such acts deplorable. Prey, understanding his plight, assures him that when the Night Order rescues her, she'll tell them Lin saved her. The Night Order is known for fairness. They'll let Lin live in the village. The idea doesn't seem too bad. They just need to hold out until the humans find the lair and rescue her. As goblins figure out where the prey is, Lin instructs the pink-haired lady to hide in their spot. She watches as Lin brings out his rough stone knife. A desperate goblin, fleeing humans and seeking strength through mating, is swiftly dealt with by Lin. Humans have entered the lair, possibly to rescue the lady. She runs towards the exit, hoping to meet the rescue team, the Holy Order, with Lin beside her. They see a knight in heavy armor cut down multiple goblins with a sword kai slash. Lin, comparing his meager 30 points to the knight's 400, is astounded. Is this knight human? The lady runs to the knight, calling him commander. Lin, seeing the dead goblins, then notices something alarming. The knight raises his judgment sword, seemingly intending to slice the surviving captive, the lady Lin has been protecting. Lin pushes her out of the sword's path, preferring the pain of hitting the floor to being cut in half. Confused and alarmed, Lin wonders why these rescuers are turning their blades on a fellow human. Loder, the knight, disdainfully addresses Kelia, the lady, calling her filthy and beyond mercy. He tells her to repent for her sins. Kelia pleads, asserting she was protected by Lin, but Loder dismisses her, scoffing at the idea of a goblin having a heart. Lin, disbelieving, grabs Kelia and aims for the cave's other exit. He clashes with Loder, hoping to buy time. Just as Loder's blade is about to cleave him, a golden light fills the room. An angelic voice stops Loder, and Lin is encased in a golden protective sphere. A blonde woman, the Holy Maiden, controls the magic. Kelia runs to her with hope. The Holy Maiden lifts Kelia and turns to Lin, asking if he understands her. Lin, knowing this woman is the Holy Maiden of Freya, asserts he was human and can explain everything if the Holy Order takes him. Loder admits the goblin seems smarter than usual. Freya, the Holy Maiden, agrees that Lin might be a gift from the Holy Mother. She decides to take Lin to town for thorough study. Lin, relieved, agrees. He trusts the Holy Maiden, hoping to prove his innocence. Freya dissolves the golden sphere and orders everyone out. Lin thanks her, promising repayment. Suddenly, he hears a blade and smells blood. Loder has stabbed Kelia, thinking she carries a goblin offspring. Lin, horrified, sees Kelia fall, betrayed by her own kind. Freya demands Lin repay her. Lin realizes he's never heard something so demonic in his life. A week had passed, and the peaceful town of Brighttown basked under a clear blue sky. The tranquility was interrupted by the resonating chime of the plaza bell, summoning the townsfolk to the square. In the heart of the town, the Holy Order had erected a grand stage. Commander Loder stood atop it, delivering a fervent speech to the assembled villagers, who were referred to as the children of God. His words cut through the air, recounting the tragic events of the recent goblin raid that had shattered their peace. Loder spoke with intensity about the goblins' treacherous, stealthy attacks that had claimed the lives of 30 residents. Assuring them of their safety, Loder declared that the Holy Order had avenged the fallen by eradicating the vile goblins. As he concluded, the Holy Maiden stepped forward. Her presence was almost ethereal, embodying hope and purity. She encouraged the people to continue their prayers and unwavering devotion to the temple. Her promise that the temple would forever protect its faithful followers brought a wave of relief and joy over the crowd, who responded with enthusiastic chants in honor of the knights and the temple. But away from the public eye, the scene was vastly different in the Holy Maiden's private quarters. The room was shrouded in darkness, a stark contrast to the bright and hopeful image she projected. Freya, the Holy Maiden, sighed deeply as she gazed upon an esoteric text filled with mysterious diagrams and magical symbols. The day's sermon had been another triumph, reinforcing the townspeople's blind faith. In her casual attire, Ephraia held a red vial of liquid, contemplating the increased tributes and devotion from the people, all of which furthered her own goals. She was not alone in her quarters. Lin, a goblin, had been her captive for a week. He was bound, gagged with a metal mask, and subjected to relentless torture. His left eye had been gouged out, and he had suffered inhuman treatment. Hanging from the wall, Lin's bloodshot eyes glared at Ephraia with unyielding hatred. Despite his torment, his resilience was a testament to the goblin's formidable vitality, a quality that made them difficult to annihilate. Ephraia's cold gaze met Lin's as she considered her next move. Deciding to experiment with poison, she approached him, her angelic voice dripping with malice. Lin's stomach churned as he listened to her. His mind raced with fury and betrayal. He had been deceived by Ephraia, just as the people of Brighttown were deceived. Kelia, an innocent survivor, had been murdered on Ephraia's orders, revealing the true nature of the Holy Order's so-called justice. Lin's defiance was met with further cruelty. Ephraia forced a wooden stick into his mouth, making him vomit blood. She found it absurd that a lowly goblin dared to question her sense of justice. To her, goblins were nothing more than pests. Kelia's defense of a goblin was seen as a betrayal, and her death was deemed an act of ultimate loyalty to humanity. In Ephraia's eyes, Lin should feel honored to serve as a subject for her experiments, rather than harbor hatred. With a golden gleam, Ephraia's hand glowed, and a magical circle formed behind Lin. The ensuing magical fire caused him excruciating pain, burning away his hatred and leaving only hopelessness. As he faced what seemed to be his end, Lin questioned his fate. Was this miserable death his destiny? He regretted his naive belief in human compassion and the righteousness of the Holy Order. His weaknesses had led him to this torture chamber. Just as he resigned to his fate, Lin found himself awakening, alive but confused. A system interface appeared before him, explaining that he had died due to his foolishness. However, the Goblin Life Simulation System had given him a second chance. It allowed him to relive his life, retaining his memories and gaining the ability to foresee future events through simulations. Faced with a choice, Lin opted to go back in time, driven by an insatiable desire for vengeance. Reborn a week before his death, Lin felt slightly stronger. The system warned him that the Holy Order was approaching the Goblin Cave. He couldn't afford to die again, as the system would not revive him a second time. Lin used the system to simulate different scenarios, earning points for future outcomes. He quickly realized that a direct confrontation with Loader was futile. Instead, he decided to escape the cave. Using his points, Lin bought an elven dagger, a lightweight and sharp weapon that significantly boosted his strength and speed. With this new blade, he felt more capable of surviving and enacting his revenge. The system informed him that Kelia was alive in this timeline, having never been captured. This revelation brought a twisted sense of satisfaction to Lin. He had indirectly fulfilled his promise to protect her. Focused on his escape, Lin overheard guards discussing their orders to kill any escaping goblins and prevent any survivors from reaching the village. This fueled his anger further. He devised a plan, using a high-pitched voice to mimic a girl from Brighttown, pleading for help. The guards, eager for action, approached the cave entrance, only to be ambushed by Lin. His new dagger sliced through them with deadly precision, marking the beginning of his bloody quest for vengeance. With the first kill behind him, Lin's resolve hardened. He would no longer be the naive goblin who trusted humans. His new life would be dedicated to repaying the Holy Order for every ounce of suffering they had inflicted upon him. The second guard stared at his frozen comrade in bewilderment, who was shaking for some reason. With words of confusion as to why he was taking so long to kill some weak goblin, he headed towards him. Due to the effect of surprise, he couldn't react in time and lost his balance. Already in the next moment, his sword reached the enemy and left a large wound on the body of the warrior. The guy could not believe that some goblin could defeat him so easily. However, his thoughts were interrupted by a sharp pain that prevented him from thinking clearly. He couldn't stand on his feet and fell to the ground with a painful cry. Raising his frightened eyes, the guard looked at the goblin he and his friend had wanted to kill a few minutes ago. But now the situation was completely different. He had a feeling that the goblin in front of him was a demon, and he was partially right. Hoping that the goblin would somehow miraculously understand him, the man began to beg him not to kill him. Right now, it was the only thing he could do. He showed Lin Tyne a medallion depicting a woman and a child and said that he had a wife and daughter waiting for his return. It was quite ironic for our hero to watch the man who had not hesitated to try to kill him a few minutes ago, now asking for mercy under such a cover. The knight continued to justify himself, saying that he only did it because he was following the orders of a holy order. He promised that if our hero let him go, he would bring him a bag of gold coins and a human girl. The guard tried his best to convince Lin, not even realizing how much he didn't care about anything he said right now. Seeing our hero as nothing more than a mindless goblin, he pulled out the knife and lunged at him with a snide laugh. The very next instant, blood splashed out, however it did not belong to Lin. Among the two of them, the only one who was brainless, and now headless as well, was the guard. The broken medallion and the dagger he never had time to use were left lying on the ground. It was finally over. After this fight, Lin was even more convinced that he shouldn't trust anyone, especially humans. Suddenly, some noise and a bright light came from deep within the forest, which could only mean that Saint Maiden and Loder were already close by. Right now, he was far from being in a condition to oppose them. He needed some time to become stronger. After taking a shirt from one of the guards, our hero Lin set off. He promised that he would meet Loder and Ephraia again, and then they would pay for all the pain he had experienced because of them. Ephraia and Loder came to the place where the two dead guards were lying. After seeing that they were dead, Loder wondered what had happened here. Normally 2 guards could easily stop even 24 goblins, but this case was out of line. If there was a creature capable of defeating 2 armed warriors, it was most likely a mutant goblin. They were the ones who most often caused problems for the Holy Order. Letting such a creature escape would mean more trouble in the future. Loder and Ephraia knew this. Loder kicked the corpse of the guard, who in his opinion was just a useless piece of trash, unable to handle even a mutated goblin. Ephraia, on the other hand, was incredibly excited and agitated at the mention of the mutated goblin. Her unhealthy tendencies were making themselves known, and the memories of the days when she had fun with the mutated, intelligent goblin added to her excitement. She was eager to get her hands on such an interesting toy again and have fun with it. As evening fell, Lin was able to get far enough away to surely be out of Ephraia and Loder's reach. After a long and tiring journey, he decided to take a little break and regain his strength. His primary goal was revenge. He was going to do to the Order what they had done to him. Goblins could improve their characteristics by mating and devouring. By improving their own characteristics and producing offspring, they could raise a stronger next generation and expand their power. By putting this plan into action and becoming stronger, Lin planned to make every human in this world live in fear of death and every woman moan and howl at his feet. Suddenly, his thoughts were interrupted by some rustling that came from the bushes behind him. Lin was immediately alarmed as he didn't rule out the possibility that the Holy Order had continued to search for him. Therefore, as soon as he saw the clothed silhouette, he immediately rushed to attack without a second thought. Attacking the enemy first and taking them by surprise was always a good idea. His tactic worked. The stranger was indeed shocked by his sudden appearance. He was so frightened that he stumbled and began to fall to the ground. However, Lin was still wrong about something. The stranger in front of him was a goblin, and judging from his behavior, he didn't. Our hero was quite surprised by this turn of events, but he immediately put his thoughts in order and became wary. Because of the betrayal he had experienced, he no longer intended to trust anyone so easily. In the next moment, however, the picture he saw before him made all his wariness disappear, replaced by astonishment. In front of him, a beautiful goblin girl was lying on the ground, looking at him with frightened eyes. Lin Ten was surprised, as he had heard that goblins could only be male. But the innocent creature in front of him was clearly a girl. After recovering a bit, the goblin girl began to frightenedly ask Lin not to hurt her, as she had just come here to fetch water. The fact that the goblin girl could speak in full and clear sentences surprised our hero even more. However, when he checked her status window, everything made sense. According to the information provided by the system, the girl was a level 3 goblin. Her profession stated that she was a god messenger, which explained her unusualness. From the skills she had devouring and exuberant growth. But what caught Lin's attention the most was the information that if a male goblin teamed up with a female goblin, then the male goblin would become a legendary goblin god. This information made our hero think becoming a goblin god meant becoming very strong, and this was just what was needed. He didn't want to miss such a good chance. Seeing Lin's gaze, the frightened goblin girl saw it as a danger, and started begging him again to let her go. She told him that if she didn't bring water to the village, the tribe leader would beat her to death. Realizing his mistake, Lin apologized and tried to calm the girl down. He gently stroked her shoulder and said that he wouldn't hurt her. He couldn't let her cry as it might attract unnecessary attention. The best solution was to settle the misunderstanding that had arisen. Fortunately, the girl had indeed calmed down and no longer looked so frightened. Crawling over to Lin, she excitedly asked if he could talk too, to which he nodded affirmatively. By nature, goblins couldn't talk properly, so it was very difficult for the girl to communicate with her tribesmen. The girl was very surprised by Lin's kindness and care, as in the tribe, the other goblins only beat and scolded her. She liked being around him so much that she offered him to return with her to the tribe. After hearing about the tribe, Lin started asking her about it. Since he still wasn't sure if he could escape the chase from the Holy Order, the best solution was to lay low and wait in some goblin village where he would be like the others. Such a sudden change in our hero's demeanor confused the girl a bit. But after looking at Lin with her charming eyes, she still agreed to take him to the village. A sly smile appeared on our hero's face. He had long thought about where he could find his subordinates. Fortunately, the opportunity presented itself. As soon as they arrived in the village, armed goblins came out of the tents. They immediately surrounded the uninvited guest. Like all goblins, they were surprised that Lin was wearing clothes just like humans. To them, something like this was new to them, and they had never seen such a strange goblin before. At the same time, our hero was assessing their numbers and was pleased that he had come across such a large village. Now he could begin to gain their trust, and he began by asking permission to join their village and meet the boss. The goblins did not like such requests at all. Some strange guy coming to their house and demanding something more. Instead, they were going to catch this insolent guy, beat him up, and then bring him to the boss. Suddenly, they were interrupted by a goblin girl who asked them to wait and not to attack the important guest until he meets the boss. This move should have delayed the fight for a while, but all plans were spoiled by the boss himself, who heard the noise and came out to see what was going on. All the other goblins immediately quieted down at the approach of the boss, and our hero tensed up. The boss was clearly not in the mood to be woken up. Lin was tense for a reason. The boss had reached level 25 and was equipped with some pretty good weapons combined with an impressive set of skills. The goblin leader appeared and slowly walked towards Lin. He looked at the female goblin, asking if she had brought the stranger to the camp. The worried girl confirmed that she had brought Lin, explaining he had nowhere else to go. With his terrifying red eyes, the leader praised her for doing a good job, but then shocked her by ordering the other goblins to seize Lin with the intent to kill and eat him. The goblins, thrilled at the prospect of a meal, jumped up in excitement, pushed the girl aside, and pointed their weapons at Lin. Lin quickly drew his weapon, commanding them to stop. He claimed he could create weapons and that joining their tribe would make them stronger. The iron knife in his hand caught the leader's attention, who then ordered the others to stop and rush towards Lin, saying he smelled deception but wanted to know what kind of weapons Lin could make. Using his knowledge of modern technology, Lin explained he could forge weapons from iron if they could find iron ore. He promised to create weapons more powerful than the knife. He noted to himself that the goblin shaman spoke very clearly, indicating that higher-level goblins were more intelligent. Sensing the leader's hesitation, Lin emphasized that iron weapons would give the tribe a chance to defeat humans or other monsters. The goblins began discussing, realizing the immense benefit of having iron weapons. They acknowledged that, compared to humans, goblins were weaker, but with iron weapons, they could move north and capture girls for mating. Faced with the immense benefits, the leader agreed to give Lin a chance. He demanded that Lin find iron ore and create weapons within 3 days, or he and the female goblin would be eaten. The girl, hearing this, became extremely worried. After giving his demands, the leader and the goblins left. Lin comforted the girl and looked at the leader with a hint of anger. He silently judged the leader as a cruel person, willing to kill even his own tribe members when enraged. Lin suppressed his anger, knowing he couldn't defeat the leader with his current strength. He needed to use this time to create weapons and become stronger. The next day, at dawn, Lin led the goblins to search for iron ore. By nightfall, the moonlight made the forest seem frightening. The female goblin, Gabu, was with them, exhausted and unable to walk anymore after a day of walking. Instead of helping her, the other goblins beat her, calling her ugly and threatening to kill her if she didn't find iron ore. Unable to bear the sight, Lin picked up a rock and threw it at one of the goblins' heads. The goblins looked at him angrily, but Lin explained he wanted them to help find iron ore, not fight. He described what iron ore looked like and told them to go to the valley ahead and bring back iron ore if they wanted to live and return. If they didn't listen, he would kill them right there. Lin took out his knife and glared at the goblins with a terrifying expression. This threat scared them, and they rushed off to find iron ore, not forgetting to threaten Lin with death if he failed to create weapons. Lin thought to himself that they would kill him after obtaining iron tools, so his task was to become stronger. Looking at Gabu's information, the notification about mating with her to become a goblin god caught his eye. Lin decided it was time to do adult things. Seeing Gabu crying, Lin told her to stop. He sat down beside her and asked if she wanted to follow him. He promised to protect her, feed her, give her a warm home, and ensure no one would bully her. The girl was confused by his words, asking if he was telling the truth. Looking at her sincerely, Lin affirmed everything he said was true, but he was currently too weak. To prevent further bullying, he needed to become stronger, and Gabu was the only one who could help him. The girl, confused, asked how she could help him become stronger. Lin felt embarrassed but said that if they mated, he would become stronger. This made the girl's face turn red. She looked at Lin with suspicion, asking if he was telling the truth, as she had never tried this before. Without waiting for her response, Lin gently kissed her and laid her down on the ground. Embarrassed, the girl agreed, saying she would bear his children. Shy sounds echoed through the air as notifications appeared, informing Lin that his level had risen to 7, increasing his attributes. After a while, Lin's body began to change, his muscles becoming more defined. Now at level 7 with 40 GP, 10 strength, 6 defense, and a total strength of 65, Lin was surprised at the change in his body. He thought that if he continued like this, he could defeat the goblin leader. Lin warmly stroked Gabu's head, telling her she was now his wife and he would protect her forever. The girl blushed and thanked Lin, calling him a good person. At that moment, a cry for help caught their attention. They saw a goblin running towards them in fear, followed by a large wolf. What caught Lin's attention was the iron ore in the goblin's hand. He didn't expect to find iron ore here, but before he could get it, he had to deal with the wolf. Lin immediately grabbed his knife and asked Gabu to wait there for him. Gabu looked at Lin with trust, reminding him to be careful. For Lin, the wolf was a test of his strength. The wolf was about to catch the fleeing goblin when Lin suddenly appeared, wielding his sharp iron knife, and charged directly at the large wolf. The fleeing goblin was taken aback by this action and filled with fear when it saw Lin kill the wolf with one blow. In the goblin's eyes, Lin had become a terrifying figure. When Lin asked for the iron ore, the goblin immediately handed it over, overwhelmed with fear. Holding the iron ore, Lin laughed with delight at its high quality. Now, they needed more of this, and after they returned, he would make weapons for the goblins and the tribe. 2 days later, Lin, with the assistance of the other goblins, successfully crafted a spear with an iron blade. Though it lacked elegance, it was a significant achievement for Lin and the goblins. They were amazed that Lin could forge a weapon from iron, but were skeptical about its effectiveness. To demonstrate its power, Lin effortlessly plunged the spearhead into the tough skull of the tribe's most formidable enemy, the #1 crocodile wolf. The spearhead pierced through with ease, leaving the goblins in awe. The goblin Lin had saved previously was ecstatic, pointing at the crocodile wolf's corpse and exclaiming how Lin had killed it in mere seconds with the iron weapon. The other goblins agreed that the iron spear was far superior to their crude stone spears. As they excitedly discussed, Lin raised the spear high and asked if they wanted weapons like this. Without hesitation, the goblins shouted excitedly, hailing him as a god. Only one goblin, the leader, was not pleased. He was furious that a newcomer had stolen his respect. If you also think that the Lin is overpowered, then hit the subscribe and leave a like, as it helps the channel a lot. The leader slammed his skull-headed staff onto the ground, his red eyes glowing with menace. He admitted that creating an iron weapon was a miracle, but declared it wasn't enough for Lin to stay in the tribe. The leader demanded that Lin create 50 iron spears within 2 days. After issuing his demand, the leader stormed off. Though the other goblins disagreed with this harsh condition, they didn't dare object. They felt the leader was too cruel and decided to help Lin complete the task. Lin wasn't surprised by the condition. He laughed confidently, seeing it as a chance to earn the respect of the other goblins, a good step forward in his plan. Over the next 2 days, Lin and the goblins worked tirelessly. They gathered iron ore, smelted it in makeshift furnaces, and hammered out spearheads. The goblins, though initially unskilled, learned quickly under Lin's guidance. They worked in shifts, day and night, driven by a mix of fear and admiration for Lin. On the day of delivery, Lin had completed the 50 iron spears. The tribe's goblins were overjoyed that Lin could stay. The leader, with a cunning smile, admitted he was satisfied with Lin's work and allowed him to stay. To celebrate Lin joining the tribe, the leader announced a feast and demanded everyone's participation. The goblins began dancing and celebrating immediately. The feast took place around a bonfire. Gabu, one of the younger goblins who had been particularly helpful to Lin, cut a piece of pork and brought it to him, offering him the best part. Lin happily accepted, enjoying the camaraderie. But soon after eating, a sharp pain struck him. Lin fell to the ground in agony, and Gabu was terrified. It was clear that Lin had been poisoned. The poisoner was none other than the leader, who approached Lin with an evil smile. He taunted Lin, calling him foolish. The leader revealed that he knew Lin's true intentions and said those who challenged his authority would only find themselves in hell. Before Lin could respond, the leader grabbed Gabu's hair, pulling her close. He said he knew Lin cared about her and wanted to make him suffer by killing her in front of him. A red line of blood appeared on Gabu's neck as the leader's claws pierced her skin. But then, a red stream of blood spurted out not from Gabu, but from the leader as his arm was cut off. Lin had done it. The leader, now fearful, asked how Lin could move after being poisoned. Lin smiled, explaining that he was always vigilant against villains and had only pretended to be affected by the poison. The system had warned him about the poisoning. Enraged, the leader had no choice but to fight. With one arm lost, his fighting power decreased. He attacked Lin with a bone chain, but Lin, with his speed, easily dodged and counterattacked. Lin's iron knife struck the leader's head, killing him. The goblins, seeing their leader dead, were terrified. Lin declared himself the new leader, promising to make them a powerful tribe with plenty of meat. Lin hugged Gabu and raised his knife high, asserting his supremacy over the tribe. The goblins, simple-minded creatures focused on meat and mating, readily agreed to Lin's leadership. As a reward for their loyalty, Lin offered them the leader's corpse. The goblins devoured it savagely, a sight that disgusted Lin, but he understood it was the reality of their lives. His priority now was building the tribe and nurturing the next generation to make them stronger. This was just the first step in his revenge. Amidst the chaos, no one noticed a pair of eyes watching from afar. A golden-haired elf girl observed the scene, her eyes wide with curiosity and concern. She wondered what was happening in this goblin tribe. The female elf came running towards her tribe while she landed onto a ground, and the servant was happy to see that the princess was back. The lady put her cloak down and started going towards the clan mother. Seeing this, the servant elf wanted to stop her, but she did not listen and told her that she had something important to report. She barged inside the room of the clan mother, while screaming that she had a report for her that the demonization of the East in the forest. But as soon as she entered, she was flustered by what fell into her eyes. She saw that the clan mother was eating grapes in a seductive way, as multiple male elves were giving pleasure to the lady. The clan mother saw the princess and immediately asked her what happened, calling her as Kasana. We come to know that the clan mother was also the mother of the Kasana. She immediately started saying sorry for barging in so suddenly, and told her mother that she still had something to do, so she will leave first. But the mother immediately stopped her daughter from going away, while asking her about why she came to see her in such a hurry, and asked her if there was something urgent to tell. Hearing this, Kasana immediately remembered about why she came to the clan mother in the first place. She told her that she had some important things to report to her about the goblin tribe in the forest. But the lady just smiled while not able to understand about how the weak, dirty and low-level goblins can do something that it was so important. Hearing this, Kasana started explaining to the clan mother that this morning, she found the black-haired giant there that had been chewed up in the demonized forest. There were even traces of fighting and hunting at the scene, and the surrounding area was covered with goblin footprints, as if they were made by those goblins in the demonized forest. Added to that, the black-haired giant bear was almost the most ferocious monster in the whole forest. So logically speaking, it was impossible for a goblin to kill a monster of this level by themselves. Kasana even saw the old leader of the goblin tribe being killed by another young goblin just a few days ago. So maybe the goblin's strange behavior have something to do with him. The clan mother was serious for a while, as she was thinking about the new leader of the goblin, and it seemed that the number of goblins in the forest was also almost recovered. Finally, the grandmother ordered Kasana to take a few people to clean up the goblins, but she wanted her to not kill them all at once, and to leave a few of them alive, because the medicine made from the raw goblin heart was the best tonic for the male stamina in the tribe. Hearing this, the daughter was now blushing intensely, but the mother just smiled, telling her daughter that she had worked hard these days, so her mother will reward her with an elf boy tonight, and she can also demand something else if she wanted. But hearing this, the elven girl immediately started running away from the room, while telling her mother that she was going to go out tonight, and she will report back to her if she saw anything else. As the scene shifts, we see that a fire was lit and the goblins were discussing and making a map of the elven tribe treehouse. One goblin informed Lin that there were about 30 elf tree houses in the whole forest, and they were all very tall. Hearing this, Lin complimented them, telling them that they did well and that he will reward them with 2 elves when they defeat the elves tribe. Lin wanted everyone to sharpen the iron tools again and get ready. Hearing that they will get 2 elves, the goblins immediately started praising Lin, telling him to live long. One of the goblins immediately told their boss Lin that he will go and ask the brothers to prepare their weapons and get ready to fight, while Lin was looking at the fire and the branch map that the goblins made. He started thinking that if the elves had 30 wooden houses, Then, based on an average of 2 elves in each wooden house, there were 60 elves. If he included the dozen or so that occupy the mine site, then there were at least more than 70 elves for them to deal with. Since the death of the old goblin priest, Lin had led the goblin to the mine for weapons and to hunt monsters to increase their level. He remembered the day of the rebellion when he told all the goblins that they will go to the demonized forests to kill monsters and level up. Lin was the one who killed the black-haired monster who was lying into the forest, while he acquired the skill of giant tusk attack. The goblins were also mining and fighting with the monsters and acquired the skill of stone-like skin, which increased their defense by 15. Lin and Gabu also acquired the silent step skill, which made them more agile as they defeated all the monsters. The goblins also hunted multiple serpents and anacondas, acquiring the skills to secrete venom in the process. Through the goblins' swallowing skills, the entire tribe has gained many skills, and the overall level has also improved drastically. We see that one of the goblins was also level 18, and he had the title of Warcraft Killer, along with his life points of 231 and strength of 29. He had the defense of 40, along with skills, which included gene devouring, iron-blooded wolf nature, giant fangs, venom secretion, and many more. It also had the equipment including a simple iron sphere and simple plate armor. The whole goblin tribe has now had the combined combat power of 250 each. But Lin knew that the combined combat power of each elf was around 200. Realizing this, Lin gave a cute smile, while thinking that his tribe's overall strength has surpassed that of the elves. Suddenly, Lin got a notification that the simulator cooldown time was now finished, while Lin thought that after all, the sneak attack that they were planning on the elves' territory was dangerous, so it was better to be cautious. He immediately started the system to run a simulation. Finally, the Goblin simulator has started and the plot was set to the night before the raid. The simulation started telling Lin that he led the greatly increased Goblin army to the elf tribe for a sneak attack, and he was fully confident that the attack will be successful. But unexpectedly, they were ambushed by the elves in advance, leading the Goblin army into a trap, and then they shot the goblins dead. And after they were caught by the elf clan mother, they were hanged in the forest to show off to all the goblins. The overall summary of the simulation was that Lin thought that it was a perfect plan, but it was actually within the control of the elves. So Lin got 0 points for this plan, and the rewards were also none. Lin was shocked to know that this was the ending they were going to get. But he knew that there was only one possibility for this outcome to arrive so surely. He immediately realized that the tribe was already being monitored by the elves, so he decided to use the well-developed senses of hearing and smell, and started scanning the area. Because he knew that as long as he concentrated, he should be able to find some clues. But suddenly, Lin heard something and looked towards the forest. He saw a crimson-red light coming from it. Finally, he found the real problem and was happy that he did so. As the same shifts and the night falls deeper, we see that the elves were running towards their tribe in the hope of reporting the clan mother that the goblins actually want to attack the tribe. Even they did not expect that the goblin tribe has already undergone such a big change in just a few days. But suddenly, as the Kasana was jumping through the trees, she was grabbed by a goblin as she started screaming in pure horror and disgust. As the scene shifts, we see that the whole group of elves was now ambushed by the goblins, while the princess was not even able to sit back and support her body. Meanwhile, the goblins were drooling over their mouths as they saw that there was a female elf in the whole group, who looked so tasty. Kasana wanted to stand up once again, but it was as if her body was not moving. She wondered if Goblin used some kind of poison in their arrows, but it was too late, because Lin was already there. As he started mocking Kasana, telling her that he did not expect himself to catch the elven lady so easily, Lin made a serious and terrifying face, while he told the lady that she arrived at the right time.
It was the next day, and the goblins threw a full bucket of water to wake the elven lady Kasana up, because Lin was going to come there soon. As soon as the lady woke up and gained some consciousness, Lin came from behind and grabbed the elf lady by her mouth. The goblin minions started telling their boss that they left the female elf just for him, while Lin was thinking that the body fluids of goblins have special effects on female creatures, such as paralysis and excitement. If you are also getting excited for the series, hit the subscribe button and leave a like, as this supports the channel a lot. The chance of winning against the matriarchal elves was even higher if Lin used the body fluids of the goblins, but Kasana was not ready to give up. She started screaming in a voice that she can muster, telling Lin that they were despicable people. The lady was not able to comprehend about how the goblins dared to kidnap the princess and even tried to attack the elven tribe. Hearing this, Lin immediately grabbed the mouth of the elven lady forcefully, but she still kept going on, that it was due to their kind clan mother that the goblins were still alive, or they would have been wiped out a long ago by all the elven tribe. She started telling him that if he dared to touch even a hair of the lady's head, then her mother will not let it go. But hearing this, Lin started smiling as he threw the elven girl onto the ground once again. Lin told everyone that the spirit inside the mouth of the elven girl seems to be different from the spirit inside the mouth of the goblins, and even when his goblin minions were stupid, they were not daring enough to lie to our boy. But the princess was doing so. Lin started telling the princess that the elves can obviously eradicate all the goblins in the forest, but there are so many goblins living in the jungle. And it was not merely because of kindness from the elven clan mother. Lin decided to say no more about why this situation happened, but he decided that he will take the goblin tribe to find out on the same night. Lin told the other two minions that they should go and eat the other two elves separately and devour their skills while they can. Hearing this shocked the elven princess, but she can't do anything. Lin immediately turned towards the girl, thinking about what he should do with the brat. Lin started coming towards the helpless girl as she started screaming that whatever Lin planned, he will not be spared. But all we can hear are the screams of the desperate girl who cannot do anything. The notification popped up, congratulating Lin on getting the level cap of 30, and since the qualification has reached the highest level, the experience was converted into health value of 50, along with strength and defense of 10. Lin has also acquired the elf skill stealth, along with the elf skill of night vision. As the scene shifts, it was the night, and we come to the elven tribe treehouse, where some male elves were moaning while telling the clan mother that they cannot do it anymore. Hearing that, the elven mother smiled, telling them that it was enough, and they were already out of potions, so they can't hold it any longer. We see that the clan mother was a little disappointed, telling the male elf that it was really heartbreaking, because if she knew that this would happen, then she would have caught more goblins last time. After all the deeds were done and multiple elven males were left stranded onto the bed, the clan mother turned towards his guard, asking about why Kasana was not back yet. The guard immediately told the clan mother that the princess has been gone for some time, and she was not back when she should be back long ago. The guard asked the clan mother if she wanted to send some people to see if they can kill more goblins and raise the level of the warriors in the tribe. Hearing this, the clan mother tapped her head while ordering the guard that it was up to him to take some warriors to the goblin tribe and support the elven princess in whatever way they can. But suddenly, they heard someone telling them in an evil voice that their elven princess will not come back home today. The guard was immediately ready with his sword almost unsheathed as he asked about who dared to come in the clan mother's room without permission. But before he can even see, the guard was immediately shot by multiple arrows of the goblins and was immediately dropped onto the ground. Meanwhile, the clan mother was easily able to stop the arrow that was shot at her by her hand, but it was of no use, because Lin and the other goblins have already entered inside the room, while telling the clan mother that their elven princess has been captured by the goblins, and she will soon bear the child of our boy Lin, and due to this, the goblin tribe and the elven tribe were now the part of a family. The clan mother was snapped into anger as she heard this, while she immediately took out the sword behind the hilt and asked our boy Lin about what he did to the elven princess. But Lin was still smiling, pretending to not hear the question of the clan mother. Seeing this angered the elven clan mother even more, while she screamed that she is going to kill our boy Lin and immediately jumped towards him with insane speeds. But what Lin said in the next line shocked the lady to the core. Lin informed her that her whole tribe was now getting murdered and tortured, so the clan mother should surrender obediently, and then Lin would consider treating her pretty well. But suddenly, as the clan mother attacked our boy, she stopped moving and cannot comprehend about what happened to her body. She was laying down onto the ground with her back on the top, as Lin informed her with a devilish smile that the arrow she caught just now had Goblin's body fluids inside of it, and once it comes in contact, the body will be paralyzed quickly. So now, Lin wanted the clan mother to be a little more honest and cooperate. Even when the elven clan mother did not want to do it, she had to do it because of her condition. Lin immediately grabbed the lady, showing interest in her talking about upgrading tools and making stimulating drugs. Lin had already realized that the elves have always used the goblins in this way. But he started mocking the lady, telling her that even she could not expect that one day the goblins will come to the elves to settle the accounts. Lin immediately put out his sword onto the neck of the elven lady to threaten her, while she was thinking that this goblin must be the new leader of the tribe that Kasana was talking about. But suddenly, the elven mother can hear multiple cries of pain and agony, along with the cries for help, as she asked Lin about what was happening. But he just smiled, telling the lady that the elven tribe was getting treated in the same way as the goblin tribe. Finally, Lin grabbed the lady and got him near the window, telling her that they should talk about cooperation when they had the time. The clan mother was now shocked to the core as she saw the massacre that the goblins were doing with the innocent elven tribe members, while they were screaming in pain and agony for the clan mother to save them, because they did not want to be taken away or being killed by the goblins. The elven mother was really angry, as she asked our boy Lin about what he had done to the elven tribe. But our boy just became Thanos and told the lady that he was maintaining the balance, like everything should be in the world, and now the strength of the goblins was no weaker than that of the elves, and the elven clan mother will have no ability to resist. Lin started explaining with a serious face that when the elven tribe was strong, they slaughtered the goblins mercilessly. So now that the goblins were strong, they will naturally come and take revenge. Lin was pretty surprised that the clan mother was not able to grasp this concept of reality. Lin immediately came closer to the lady, telling her that he needed more and stronger goblin warriors, so he still needed the lady for this act. He immediately took out a knife and put it on her neck, telling the clan mother that what happened to the elven tribe depended on the attitude of their clan mother. It was as if seeing all the pain and agony, along with the cries for help, broke the elven mother from inside, as she was down there, sitting on the ground like a shocked statue. She knew that she can do nothing but just beg to our boy Lin, because as long as he did not kill the children of the tribe, it was all good. And the clan mother was ready to do everything that she can. But finally, she said it, that she was willing to take the seed of our boy and to give birth to his children. Near the goblin settlement camp, we see that multiple tents were prepared, and Kasana was hugging her mother while crying, telling her that if even the clan mother was captured by goblins, then what can they do in the future? But the mother said sorry to her daughter, because it was her fault that she underestimated the goblins and did not expect them to have the strength which far exceeded that of the elves. And due to this, now the elf tribe was only left with defenseless women and children, and in order to preserve the blood of the elves, they had to have the intercourse with the goblins even when they are merciless and rough on them. From now on, they can only be in the goblin tribe. Hearing that, Kasana started crying more, but Lin was looking at everything from outside the jail, while telling the mother-daughter duo to just stay inside and wait for the birth to happen. Lin told them that he will arrange 3 meals in a day for them, and if the elves messed up their mind, then it was not Lin's fault for killing them mercilessly. The clan mother was hearing everything and agreed without any condition, but she had a request. Lin decided to listen to the request, and the clan mother told him that even when they were not pure elves, The children they were giving birth to were still elves, so the clan mother wanted to take care of them herself. All three of them looked at Gabu, who was happily playing with the kids who were elven. Lin guessed that the clan mother was doing this due to her attribute of endless love. Lin turns towards Gabu, telling her to give the elven kids to the clan mother to take care of them. He started thinking that when the elven kids grow up, they also bring power to the tribe that cannot be underestimated. He decided to take a look at his stats after intercourse with the clan mother. The system congratulated Lin for getting an upgrade, and his health got increased by 200, strength by 30, and defense also by 30. Lin wondered if his upgrade has been unlocked to the highest level, and realized that the recently obtained values were directly converted into attributes and not experience. Lin started smiling as he realized that in the future, they only needed to have intercourse with strong women to have children and directly enhance their strength. The current strength was already enough to crush Captain Loader, so Lin decided that after the elves gave birth to their children, he will find the opportunity to meet the brat. As the scene shifts to half a month later, we see that the elves were still locked up, while the goblins were guarding all of them. One of the elves gave birth to her child, but as soon as she saw him, she found it really disgusting. She immediately told everyone that she did not want this kind of child, because it was completely terrible. Lin was looking at everything along with Gabu, while he asked his wife about the number of newborns in the tribe. The lady replied that there should be 30 or 40 of them now. But suddenly, everyone heard that Kasana was screaming loudly in pain and agony. Lin immediately turned around and saw that the clan mother was helping her give birth to the child, and even when she wanted to give up, the mother encouraged her. She immediately turned towards Lin, telling him that this was Kasana's first time giving birth, so she seems to be not able to handle this pain. And as he came closer and knelt down, Gabu grabbed her legs. Seeing this, Kasana did not want Lin to come closer, but Lin immediately scolded her, telling her that they were his children too. And with the help of all three of them, Kasana was able to give birth to her child. After saving both the mother and the child, Gabu was impressed by Lin, telling him that he was really powerful. Both Kasana and the clan mother were relieved after giving birth. But suddenly, they heard an elf crying for help, and as Lin turned around, he saw that two goblins were going to have intercourse with an elf once again, because according to them, she was ready to be used again. But suddenly, one of them was stabbed straight up in his stomach by none other than our boy, while he told the other one that if they broke the rule about the mother being able to rest and fully recover before breeding, then they are straight up disobeying Lin, and they were going to die due to it. Lin decided that from now on, each elf will be given one more fruit than usual, and the other goblin was trembling in fear by the death of his partner in crime. The clan mother noticed something and told Lin that he seemed to be really different from the ordinary goblins, but Lin ignored everything, telling the clan mother that as long as the elf was more honest, they will be treated better. We see that the goblin simulator started running and the current plot was captive elves. It told Lin that after his hard work, he captured the elven tribe and fertilized all the females. After the elves become pregnant, they will give birth to a goblin with stronger attributes than normal. Seeing that the tribe members were about to expand, Lin decided to seek revenge on Loader and the others, and he sneaked into the human town alone and successfully found the whereabouts of the Blade Warrior. Now, the system gave Lin 3 options. The first one was to take it upon himself and try to kill Loader and the others, which had the rating of 50. The second option was to lead the goblins to take revenge and cause a massacre inside the town, which had the rating of 30. The third and last option was to just wait and see what happens, because if Lin thought that the time was not right, he should keep observing for a while, and this option had the rating of 10. They started wondering if they can even find the Loader so soon. Even when his current strength was comparable to that of Loader, the strength of his associates cannot be underestimated. But Lin knew that with his current attributes, he should be able to kill Loader very easily. He taps at the first option and the simulation starts. It told Lin that he found the opportunity when Loader was alone, and he chose to attack decisively. Loader was caught off guard and was almost killed. But at this moment, his master, the human swordsman called the Sword Saint, appeared in front of them. She rescued Loder, and Lin died tragically under her sword. Soon, Loder's brave group returned to the capital and never appeared again. The summary of the simulation was that facing the powerful Sword Saint gave Lin no chance of escaping, so he had to be careful. Lin was shocked to see that the Sword Saint was appearing in such a small town, and he did not even expect that Loder and the others would leave the town, because once they left, it would be really difficult to find them. Lin realized that he will have to hurry up if he wanted to take the revenge. As he turned around, he saw that Gabu was giving the fruits to the clan mother. Lin came towards his wife with an idea, telling her that he was going to visit the human territory in the past few days, and he knew that, except for Lin, the warriors in the tribe will listen to Gabu the most. So he decided to leave the tribe for Gabu to manage in the past few days. Gabu was shocked to hear this, while the clan mother started shouting at Lin, telling him that if he goes to the human territory and got discovered by humans, he will definitely be killed. But Lin informed the clan mother that he had a grudge against humanity and he had to take revenge no matter what. But if Lin was so hung up with going to the human territory, the clan mother wanted to help him by using the stealth skill that she had, so that Lin won't get discovered by the humans. Lin smiled while thinking that he was waiting to be discovered by the humans, but he told the clan mother that he did not expect her to still care about our boy after going through all of this. But the clan mother calmly told Lin that she was just afraid that after our boy died, the goblins in the tribe would be crueler to the elven tribe. And her children were all in the goblin tribe, so only when Lin came back safely, everyone would be safe. Hearing everything, Lin realized that the clan mother knew how to survive. After using stealth, Lin started to go towards the human territory, while Gabu told him from behind that she will take care of the tribe with all her might, and the clan mother was smiling. Lin told Gabu that he was not going to get milk, so he will get back pretty soon. Lin got to the Guangming town, where multiple soldiers were walking onto the roads, patrolling the whole town. But we see that in the dark corner, Lin was hiding from everyone while observing everything, thinking that the patrols have become so tight, and the city defense was at peak. He wondered if the Sword Saint has already arrived in the town, but Lin was looking for news about her for a long time, but he was not able to hear anything related to her, and it was really strange for him. As the scene shifts, Lin came to a circular area inside the town, where multiple people were sitting around a fountain. As he turned around, he saw that multiple humans were gathered and reading a poster of some kind. It was the Humans Adventure Team ranking, which stated that the Blade Warriors were at the Platinum level. After looking at the ranking, Lin wondered if Loder has become stronger again, because he was actually ranked first in the whole adventures list. Lin started going away from the crowd while thinking that he had to find more clues about him. Otherwise, his revenge plan will come to nothing. As the scene shifts, Lin came near a big house where someone was loudly laughing and screaming that he was going to treat someone today, and they should all have a drink. Lin immediately stopped after listening to this voice as he smiled and knew that he had finally found Loder. Lin immediately got inside the building, which was an adventurer's inn, where Loder was drinking. Like there would be no tomorrow. I guess that's true. Someone was telling him the story about how he was almost beaten to death by a four-handed demon ape at the time. But fortunately, Captain Loder arrived in time and saved his life. The girl also told him that the leader dealt with the demon, otherwise they would not be able to defeat the creature by themselves. But suddenly, a member from another group came and started making fun of the Blade Warriors. This angered the drunk man who wanted the outsider to go and get out of the place. But both of them were drunk, and they decided to fight among themselves instead, taunting one another into fighting like a man. Everyone was looking at the commotion while the bartender told both of them that recently, an evil dragon on Long Island has reached its breeding season and kidnapped multiple livestock and ate all the humans that it found. The bartender wanted both of them to just go and kill the dragon, if they were feeling this enthusiastic about their achievements. Lin was shocked by the mention of a dragon, and the bartender told everyone that if the evil dragon comes to the town and attacks people, the royal capital would not be able to provide support on the right time. The bartender knew that even if all the adventurers in the town fight with the group of dragon, they cannot withstand their might, and darkness would definitely come to their town. But Captain Loader was as arrogant as ever, while he told everyone that they were just a few dragons, and it should not be something which should be feared. Loader told everyone that he did not have to hide it anymore, so he was telling everyone that the Sword Saint was already on her way towards the town. The Sword Saint was Loader's master, and once she comes and joins them in slaying the dragon, there would be no need for the king to send troops. When the matter would be resolved, then the whole group will return to the capital along with the saint. The whole place was shocked by hearing that Captain Loader has even invited the Sword Saint. Multiple people thought that he was just bragging, but some of them thought that with a saint being in charge, they do not have to be afraid of confronting the evil dragon and its group. And if this succeeds this time, then Loader will be the great hero in the whole town. Loader informed everyone that today he invited all the warriors to drink as a way for celebrating the arrival of the Sword Saint and the success of slaying the dragon in advance. Lin stood up and gave a coin to the bartender, while thinking that the evil dragon was going to attack the town and he had to seize this opportunity without fail. But seeing that Lin was going out, the unknowing captain asked him to stay and enjoy a few drinks with him. But hearing this, our boy smiled, while declining this offer, telling Loader that there would be multiple times for drinking. The captain was pretty annoyed by this behavior of our boy. As the scene shifts, we see that the whole town prepared for welcoming the Sword Saint, while Loader got inside a castle and saw a lady with pretty long hair, addressing her as master and telling her that these days an evil dragon has been wandering around and getting closer to the people in town. No one even dares to get out of their houses, and the troops cannot wait for the dragon to attack the town. The lady immediately turned around, and the captain got onto his knees. We see a lady with beautiful hair and a heavy armor which covered her slender body, while she asked Loader about if he did whatever the lady asked him to do. Loader informed the lady that 10 dragon-hunting crossbows have been made according to the drawings given by the lady, and they were being deployed at various high points in the town. The saint told the captain to arrange the crossbows well, otherwise none of them would be able to make any difference, and it would be the lady's shame to bear. As the lady came near the window, the people were still cheering for her, not able to believe at the beauty of the lady. But the lady immediately told Loader to evacuate everyone present there because it was dangerous. After some time, the town fell into chaos as everyone saw a crimson-red dragon descending upon the humans and catching its prey with his long legs. The saint was ready along with Loader to finally have a face-to-face with the crimson dragon. She ordered Loader to take his companions and go up the city wall. As the scene shifts, a goblin came running towards Lin, telling him that the dragon was coming, and there were many soldiers on the city wall, but suddenly he was stopped by our boy, while he told all the goblins to just wait and enjoy the show. And with that, this chapter comes to an end. Hit the like button and complete today's aim of 500 likes. Also, subscribe and join the channel to support me financially and get shout out in the next video. Thanks for watching.